From doubted to leader. RAPHINHA'S story. Imagine a child chasing a plastic ball through the dusty streets of a Brazilian favela. Around him, drugs and crime loom like shadows. That child now wears the iconic Blaugrana jersey, standing tall as one of football's brightest stars. This is the story of RAPHINHA, an epic odyssey from adversity to glory, woven with sacrifice, talent, and unshakable faith. Welcome to Cat Barcelona, a channel dedicated to our beloved Blaugrana club. Let's get started. Childhood in Restinga, the ball as salvation. On December 14, 1996, Rafael Dias Baloli, known as RAPHINHA, was born to Lizian, Liz, and Rafael Dias, a samba musician. He grew up in the Restinga neighborhood of Porto Alegre, a humble community where, even before learning to walk, he was already familiar with football. This was thanks to the influence of his father and uncle, both of whom had been standout players in the region. In a home where the ball was part of everyday life, RAPHINHA's talent quickly emerged. By the age of 6, RAPHINHA was already playing on dirt streets. If you wanted to survive there, you had to be fast and creative, he recalls in interviews. But football was more than just a game, it was a refuge. In Restinga, the constant shadow of gang violence loomed large. Many of his childhood friends chose a different path, opting for the lure of easy money through drug trafficking. RAPHINHA admitted that he lost many friends to that world. "I had friends who played 10 times better than me and who could have been in a great football club." The rejection that forged his character: you weren't good enough. From a young age, he showed immense talent and joined the Monte Castelo Academy, standing out among his peers. His dream was to play for Inter de Porto Alegre, but he was rejected 3 times because of his physique. After playing for many small clubs and teams, both in football and futsal, he had to leave his home and travel 500 kilometers to Santa Catarina, where he was accepted into Avaí FC's youth setup. There he endured tough years, sometimes even lacking enough money for food, which led him to ask for cash on the streets. Yet RAPHINHA never lost focus. "I knew I didn't want to fall into drug trafficking like many of my friends. Football was my only way out." With immense sacrifice and effort, he persevered and made it to Avaí's U20 team. This was when the opportunity he had been waiting for finally arrived. His father, a samba musician, met Ronaldinho in Barcelona while playing at one of his parties and decided to tell him about his son. Impressed by RAPHINHA's story, the Brazilian star recommended him to his friend Deco, who would eventually pave his way to European football. The leap to Europe, from Avaí to lead. Finally, in early 2016, at the age of 19, and thanks to his talent, dedication, and a twist of fate, RAPHINHA arrived at Vitória Guimarães in Portugal. During his first season, he alternated between the youth team and the first team, quickly establishing himself. In 2018, he signed with Sporting Lisbon, where he found himself alongside a young Bruno Fernandes, winning titles such as the Portuguese Cup and League Cup. With a market value of €21 million thanks to his enormous potential, he moved to France's Stade Rennais in 2019, where his daring dribbles and pinpoint crosses further showcased his talent. But his stay there was brief. His destiny was in the Premier League. In 2020, Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds United recruited him for €17 million. Under Bielsa's guidance, RAPHINHA became a legend. In the Premier League, his ability to unsettle defenses and his work ethic made him an idol, as he amassed a total of 17 goals and 10 assists. In 2021, he scored a crucial goal against Brentford that saved the team from relegation. Fans chanted his name like an anthem. Yet, his dream was set even higher. Barcelona. Wearing the Blaugrana is fulfilling a promise to my father. In July 2022, Barcelona paid €58 million for him. For RAPHINHA, it was an act of poetic justice. As a child, he watched videos of Ronaldinho and dreamed of Camp Nou. "When I signed, I called my father and couldn't help but cry," he revealed. Arriving at Barcelona had always been his dream, though his entry into the team would present a new challenge. Under the management of Xavi, RAPHINHA had to battle for a starting spot against Ousmane Dembele, who, despite injuries and ups and downs, relegated him to a secondary role, gradually eroding his confidence. Every mistake, whether a misplaced shot or a forced pass, was amplified under the unrelenting scrutiny of the Barca faithful. Criticism poured in, along with doubts. Was he truly the Barca DNA needed to wear the Blaugrana? Still, the Brazilian never gave up. He turned every minute granted by Xavi into a personal battle, running as if each match were his last, defending with relentless determination, trying to prove that he deserved to stay. This situation continued until the summer of 2023, when Dembele left the team for PSG. Raphinha trusted that his time to shine had come, but it wasn't meant to be. The rising star from the academy, Lamine Yamal, only 15 years old, began to threaten his position on the right flank, dazzling with his talent and overshadowing Raphinha's hard-earned efforts. For him, the outlook seemed bleak. Coupled with a forgettable season for the team, rumors about his future grew. The rebirth under Hansi Flick, from doubted to leader. The summer of 2024 pushed him to the brink. While the club was negotiating with Nico Williams and dreaming of Luis Diaz, Raphinha felt the disdain of those who saw him as nothing more than a failed signing. Lucrative offers from Saudi Arabia and the Premier League sounded tempting, but he rejected them. "I wanted respect, not a check," he later confessed. Amid that whirlwind, a change of coach took place. Xavi left the team, making way for Hansi Flick, a manager who arrived with fresh ideas and a tactical microscope. Under his leadership, everything changed. Flick not only shifted him to the left but reinvented him. He demanded aggressive pressing, explosive runs between the lines, and a hybrid role as both winger and playmaker. He turned Raphinha into a multifunctional weapon, destabilizing from the flank, assisting as a midfielder, and finishing like a striker. The German's confidence became his lifeline, and Raphinha responded with impressive numbers. But beyond the statistics, he emerged as a leader. When Ter Stegen, Araujo, and De Jong were sidelined by injuries, the locker room chose him as captain in recognition of his dedication and leadership. The legacy of a fighter. Today, Raphinha is no longer the player who arrived on the scene. He is a symbol of resilience, an underdog who carved out his place through sheer sweat and character. His mentality is now forged in steel. "Flick's confidence made me understand that I belong here," he states. With a performance that now positions him as a potential Ballon d'Or candidate, even the fans who once doubted him now chant his name, seeing in his evolution a mirror of the club's values. At 28 years old, he looks to the future with the same ambition as that little boy. "I want to win the Champions League with Barca and the World Cup with Brazil. But above all, I want my story to inspire someone else to never give up." From that summer when he was nearly sold, one lesson remains. In football, as in life, those who don't break are the ones who get forged. And Raphinha is undoubtedly made of Blaugrana iron. Raphinha is not just a footballer, he is a symbol that dreams know no boundaries. From the streets of Restinga to Barcelona, his story reminds us that talent, when combined with resilience, can change destinies. And if his story teaches us anything, it's this: when life steals your grass, you learn to play on dust, and end up conquering the world. What do you think about his incredible journey from the streets of Restinga to Barcelona? Leave us your opinion in the comments and share what has inspired you the most about his story. See you in the next video.